When you started watching football, there were some players that were absolutely everywhere. Every team wanted them, every kid wanted to be like them, and for a while, it felt like they were never going away. However, nowadays, most of these players have fell into oblivion despite their undeniable talent. So today, I'm going to refresh your memory and show you 10 football legends that are already forgotten. Starting out at number 10 with Wesley Schneider. One of the most successful players coming out of the famous Ajax Youth Academy, Wesley Schneider was one of the few players who actually had a chance of winning the Ballon d'Or during the Messi and Ronaldo era. He flopped during his time in Real Madrid, but after leaving the Spanish capital for Inter in 2009, he became a world beater and the MVP of their historic treble-winning season. He participated in every goal on the road to the 2010 Champions League final and was also extremely influential in the Netherlands runners-up campaign in the World Cup of that same year. Unfortunately, that iconic season would be his peak at just 26 years old, and from that point on, his fitness was never the same. He suffered a serious injury a couple of months later, and in 2013 left for Galatasaray, despite having several offers to continue playing at the highest level. Schneider was always a star during the 4.5 seasons he spent in Turkey though, but spending so much time away from the spotlight played a big role on how he isn't as talked about as Robben or Van Persie, despite having arguably a better prime. He's currently 39, fully enjoying his life after retiring in 2019 with Al Garrafa. Number 9. Dirk Kuyt. Another Dutch legend that fell even harder into obscurity. If you watched Champions League football during the 2000s, you'll remember how impressive this guy was on the wing for Liverpool. He spent 6 seasons there after impressing in Feyenoord, but similarly to Schneider, Kuyt left for Turkey in the 2012-2013 season and people kinda forgot about him. However, he did have a better end to his career. After collecting his checks in Turkey, Kuyt returned to the Netherlands and helped Feyenoord end an 18-year league title drought before finishing his playing days with Quick Boys, the club that launched his career back in 1997. Poetic to say the least. Number 8. Fernando Redondo. Considered by many the best defensive midfielder to ever play the game, it's a shame the newer generations have no clue on who this man was. Redondo played with elegance and class, something that was extremely uncommon for his position in the 90s and influenced many players, with the most notable one being Sergio Busquets. He was instrumental in the Madrid sides that won 2 La Liga titles, 2 Champions League trophies, and despite never being able to perform at his best during his stint with AC Milan, he still won everything that there was to win over there, including another Champions League medal. Incredibly, he never had many standout performances with Argentina. In fact, he even missed the 1998 World Cup because he refused to cut his long hair. Maybe he's not as well known due to the lack of great moments in international football, or maybe it's due to his reserved personality, but either way, this man deserves to be talked about more. Number 7. Paco Orantes. It's baffling how many Real Madrid legends are easily forgotten as the years go by, and another one is Paco Orantes. Although he retired over 50 years ago, this man's legacy is on par with the greatest players of all time. The only player to this day to win 6 Champions League titles, Orantes was one of the fastest wingers to ever play the game. He played alongside Di Stefano, Puskás, Copa and many others, and while he was never the star in Real Madrid's best period, Los Merengues wouldn't have had the same success without him. Paco sadly passed away in 2022, but his legendary career will never die as long as we keep talking about it. Number 6. Paul Gascoigne. In my opinion, Gazza is the most gifted English player of all time. But being gifted doesn't necessarily make you the greatest, and much of what you achieve is through your hard work and commitment. Unfortunately for Gascoigne, his mind never seemed to be on the right place, and despite him having many great moments, such as his goal against Scotland at Euro 1996 or his stints with Lazio and Rangers, most people will only remember his problems with addiction. Gazza is one of those cases of wrong place, wrong time. I believe if he didn't suffer so much trauma in his childhood and was born in our current era where mental health is actually taken seriously, he could have easily clinched a Ballon d'Or. Thankfully, he seems to be doing better nowadays, as his addiction problems seem to be under control, and Gazza even said that he had recovered his bile. Number 5. Miroslav Klose. How can you forget about the top goal scorer in World Cup history? I get it, he didn't have the most stellar career at club level. He was a decent striker with Bayern and Werder Bremen, but the recent success of Lewandowski kind of overshadows what he achieved. Still, he was always at an elite level while playing for the Mannschaft, and despite him leaving Bayern for Lazio in 2011 at 33 years old, he continued to deliver well into his late 30s. In fact, a player like Klose is exactly what the German national team lacks nowadays. A striker with killer instinct who puts everyone away, whether you're San Marino or Brazil. He was indeed a big game player, and although his record might be destroyed by Mbappe sooner rather than later, it's fitting that no matter what, he will always have his World Cup winner's medal. Number 4. Tomasz Rosicki. Having made his first mark in the international stage at Euro 2000, Rosicki would go on to be the best Dortmund player in an era where they were under serious financial problems. 6 years later, he would leave for Arsenal and he would have no problems adapting to Van Gaal's playing style, being instrumental in keeping the Gunners in contention for Champions League qualification. Sadly, when he was just about to hit his prime, injuries came knocking on his door and never stopped daunting him until he retired. Rosicki suffered a rare tendon injury that kept him out of action for 18 months, and from that point on, he would have small injuries after small injuries that prevented him from reaching his true potential. He still kept going though, and when he came back, he played like nothing had happened, leading to many fans suspecting he was using cocaine to boost his performances. None of that was ever proven, and what will forever be a fact is that the rock and roll maestro was one of the most fun to watch players ever, who despite his injuries, only retired in 2018 at 37 years old. Number 3. Andrei Arshavin. To this day, Arshavin is still the best Russian player that I've ever seen in my lifetime. He had the outstanding ability to turn average teams into genuine title contenders, transforming Zenit, a team who hadn't even won the league since the 80s, into one of the most exciting sides in Europe, conquering the league, the cup, the UEFA Cup, and the Super Cup against Manchester United. And if that wasn't enough, he also carried his national team to the Euro 2008 semi-finals after beating the Netherlands. Of course, his success didn't go unnoticed for long, and after finishing 8th in the Ballon d'Or voting, he would get a big move to Arsenal. And while during his first half season he continued playing at the highest level, in the following years without any reasonable explanation, Arshavin's form dropped massively. It looked like he had lost his fire just 30 years old, and in the next 6 years he would stay away from the spotlight, having another stint with Zenit, and then finishing his career in Kazakhstan with Kairat. Number 2. Wayne Rooney. It's a bit unfair to say that Rooney is forgotten, but the only reason he hasn't fell into oblivion is because people still like to laugh at him. And that's a shame because Rooney was one of the best teenage footballers of all time. I mean, what he achieved at such a young age is incredible. He was already an influential player at Everton at just 16 years old and the best English footballer in the Euro 2004 tournament. A move to Man United would follow after, and Rooney would soon develop into a Red Devils legend before he even turned 30. Rooney would lead the team following Ronaldo's move to Madrid, and he would have his best seasons in 2010 and 2012, scoring 34 goals in both of them. But after Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement, things were never the same for United or for Rooney. His form dipped and he became a laughingstock, always taking the blame when things went wrong at both club and international level. Unfortunately, it's undeniable that he suffered one of the harshest downfalls in football history, going from being one of the very best in the world at 27 to playing the championship just a few seasons after. However, that shouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind when we think about such a phenomenal player like Rooney. And at number 1, David Villa. It's incredible that such a lethal striker who played the protagonist role in Spain's golden era never had a club career to match it. Better known for his incredible Valencia stint, Villa proved that he could be a world beater wherever he was playing, even scoring 17 goals in his debut season in La Liga with Zaragoza. And after being fulcral to Spain's consecutive title conquests between 2008 and 2010, he earned himself a move to Barcelona where he would finally clinch a Champions League. Perhaps he moved a bit too late, since he was already 29, and those 3 years with a Blaugrana shirt were too little to leave a definitive mark in Los Culés' hearts. Besides, being replaced by Luis Suarez certainly didn't help. Villa didn't take it personally though, and he continued to be the lethal striker that we got used to watch, guiding Atletico to their first league title since 1996, while also helping them to reach a Champions League final. He would leave for New York City FC in the next season, but unlike the vast majority of players, he took the challenge seriously, and was even called up to the national team in 2017 due to how well he was still performing. He would quietly retire in Japan in 2020, but those who watched Valencia's Champions League nights in the 2000s, or Spain in their most dominant period, will never forget the legacy of a player who was just a few good passes away from scoring a goal. And that is it. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up so I know you want to watch more content like this. And as always, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the most interesting football discussions, stories, and top 10 lists. Thank you for watching until the end. I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.